soon, but just wanted to start our introductions for today. So good afternoon to everybody and welcome. Thanks for attending our webinar today. As a greenhouse owner, it can be definitely hard to navigate emerging technologies, growing strategies, diverse energy rates, and many options that are available in order to understand how changes affect one part of your greenhouse, and it might have a domino effect on your operations and productions. Costs are also obviously a very big concern when we're talking about new technologies and the like. Today's webinar is part of a series of webinars that 360 Energy is presenting as a trusted independent advisor in order to keep greenhouse leaders objectively informed of the many changes, including risks and opportunities occurring in the energy industry. Today, we are very fortunate to be joined by Vicky Gagnon and Heather Tripp from the Save on Energy team. And they're going to walk us through a little bit about the Retrofit Program and the other available agricultural incentives that can contribute to improved energy efficiency and operation of your facilities. Just a quick note on housekeeping just before we turn things over to Vicky. I am keeping everybody muted on today's presentations. We definitely do recommend that people use the questions function in your control panel for the webinar. We will be keeping an eye on the questions function there, so please do ask questions. We will have lots of opportunity to ask and answer those. Beyond that, we will be recording today's webinar today, and both the presentation and the presentation will be sent out to everybody following the webinar. But we're also going to have a recording of this webinar up on our website within a few days as well, if you do want to refer back to it. Without any further ado, I'm going to hand things over to Heather, and I think Vicky's going to be starting us off, and they can introduce a little bit about themselves and what we're going to be discussing today. Thanks for joining us, Vicky.
Yep, great. Thanks so much. As she said, I'm Vicky Gagnon. I'm with the ISO. And on behalf of the Save on Energy team, I want to thank you for attending our presentation today. Today, we'll be going over the Save on Energy Retrofit Program and how you can benefit as part of a greenhouse sector. Next slide. I'd like to take a moment to outline the webinar agenda and what we will be talking about today. So to begin, we will provide a brief overview of the Retrofit Program incentives and benefits, and this will give you a better sense of what types of incentives are available and why you should apply. Next, we'll move on to more specific electricity efficiency opportunities and a couple of example case studies to give you a better idea of the types of projects you can consider and what incentives could look like. After that, we'll get into the program requirements. This section of the presentation will outline exactly what you'll need, what we will need from you in order to qualify to collect your incentive. And finally, we'll end the presentation today with an overview of the available support lines that can be provided through the outreach services team before getting to your questions. With me today to help go through the material is Heather Tripp from our Retrofit outreach team. So first, next slide. First, just a little bit about me and the ISO. As I mentioned, my name is Vicky Gagnon, and I've been with the ISO for over 15 years, and I work primarily as a business advisor for the public sector and agriculture. The ISO manages Ontario's power system, meeting Ontario's needs in real time and planning for the future. We also deliver the Save on Energy programs, enabling energy efficiency for homes and businesses across the province. We all know that the landscape has changed significantly. The Save on Energy Retrofit Program continues to operate, and I'll talk more about how the program has been adapting in a few minutes. Next slide. As I mentioned, the ISO is delivering energy efficiency programming through the Save on Energy suite of programs. These programs are focused on supporting Ontario's businesses with support for income-eligible customers and Indigenous communities. Investment in energy efficiency make businesses more competitive and our homes more livable. These programs also have contributed significantly to the management of Ontario's grid. For example, since 2015, savings from energy efficiency programs have powered the equivalent of 800,000 homes for a year. And delivered at just over 2 cents a kilowatt hour, Save on Energy is a cost-effective choice as energy efficiency reduces and delays the need for new power plants and transmission lines. Next slide. Today we'll be speaking about our current interim framework, which is set to end December of this year. We're in the process of developing a proposal for a new 4-year conservation and demand management framework that, if approved by the Ministry of Energy, would launch on January 1. The focus will be on addressing limited system needs in the most cost-effective manner in the near term and increase CDM investment in the second 2 years of the framework, so 2023, 2024, to meet system needs that are emerging in the 2020s. The framework will continue to be centrally delivered by the IESO, with opportunities for others to propose cost-effective programs or projects that might meet local or regional electricity system needs. Next slide. You might be wondering about the impact of COVID-19 on the Save on Energy offerings. The retrofit program is still operating, and we remain committed to maintaining a high level of service during this time. So the retrofit program is active and applications can still be submitted for processing. What has changed is that in-person interactions between our Save on Energy representatives and participants of the Save on Energy programs were temporarily suspended, but we're beginning to move forward with certain regions of the province. The Save on Energy representatives are available to provide project support remotely, including application and technical support via phone and email and video conferencing, and will discuss safety precautions with customers for on-site meetings. Next slide. We're closely monitoring the COVID-19 situation and will continue to provide updates with regards to the Save on Energy retrofit program as they become available. You can always visit the Save on Energy website and social media channels for updates. Additionally, please feel free to contact your Save on Energy representative. For more information related to COVID-19 and the retrofit program, you can visit our website at saveonenergy.ca and look under the FAQs. And before I turn it over to Heather, I wanted to thank you for your participation to date, and we look forward to continuing to work together. If you're new to the program, we look forward to your participation and helping you with your energy efficiency projects. I encourage you to connect with your Save on Energy representatives. And with that, Heather will walk you through the Save on Energy retrofit program and how we can support you and your community. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the webinar. With that, Heather, over to you.
Thanks, Vicki. Welcome, everyone. And on behalf of the Save on Energy team, I want to thank you for joining us today for this webinar. My name is Heather Tripp, and I'm a Save on Energy representative for the Retrofit Program. It's a pleasure to be here to talk about the Retrofit Program, including the available incentives and the many benefits to participating. This webinar is focused on greenhouse growers in Ontario, and I'm going to provide you with an overview of the Retrofit Program as it relates to energy efficiency opportunities in the agricultural sector. We will discuss the incentives that are available for LED grow lighting, as well as other measures that can contribute to improved energy efficiency and operations in your facilities. As a Save on Energy delivery partner for the IESO, support is our most important responsibility. We aim to minimize the barriers to participation by offering technical support and guidance to all stakeholders, including potential participants like yourselves. We do so by promoting the value of energy efficiency and the benefits of the retrofit program through webinars and direct outreach to participants. And we are responsible for ensuring compliance with the program requirements. If you are considering a project at your facility, we encourage you to take advantage of the support available. Some of you in attendance today may already be familiar with the retrofit program. However, for those of you who are not, I will provide important information regarding the program, including eligibility, program requirements, timing, and available incentives for the agricultural sector. The Save on Energy Retrofit Program provides financial incentives for projects that deliver sustainable, which means 4 years or longer, measurable and verifiable reductions in electricity consumption and peak electricity demand. When planning future retrofits for your facility and as part of your overall energy management strategy, consider energy saving upgrades such as replacing existing high-pressure sodium lighting with LEDs, installing high-efficiency pumps, or adding a variable frequency drive to pumps and reduce power consumption when full operation is not required. Through incentives for equipment upgrades and replacements, like switching to LED lighting or installing high efficiency pumps, the agricultural sector can significantly reduce the amount of electricity required to grow crops while increasing yields and improving their bottom line. In addition to increased efficiency and productivity, other benefits to participating include up-to-date equipment and technology, as well as operational savings and decreased maintenance costs. It's important to note that projects involving new energy efficient equipment that is not replacing an existing piece of equipment are also eligible to participate. So for example, adding LED lighting to a greenhouse that previously relied only on natural light is eligible. And in fact, these types of projects have made up the majority of the LED grow light applications processed by our team to date. The Retrofit program has two types of project applications available: prescriptive track and custom track. Prescriptive track applications are ideal for quick system upgrades, as applications are easy to complete and have faster review turnarounds. Incentive amounts for lighting and other measures are based on predefined amounts per unit of product. The minimum eligible application incentive amount is $500. Custom track applications are designed to provide flexibility for more comprehensive projects, with opportunities for increased energy savings. Incentives are based on energy savings over pre-project baselines. The minimum eligible application incentive amount is $1,500. With respect to the financial incentives and what is available through the Retrofit program, lighting incentives, I'm referring to interior or exterior lighting here, not horticultural lighting, are calculated based on the greater of either $400 per kilowatt of demand savings or 5 cents per kilowatt hour of first year electricity savings. While incentives for other non-lighting measures, including horticultural lighting, lighting controls, building automation systems, are calculated based on the greater of either $800 per kilowatt or 10 cents per kilowatt hour of first year electricity savings. The incentives are capped at 50% of eligible project costs. The primary distinction between prescriptive and custom tracks is that more costs are deemed eligible under the custom track. This could include expenses like the preparation of measurement and verification plans, metering and measurement equipment or services, design and engineering, etc. If you're uncertain about whether or not a cost is eligible, please reach out and we'll be happy to help. We want to be sure everyone is aware of some really important timelines. All applications must be pre-approved by December 31st, 2020. To be clear, this means pre-approved, not just submitted. To ensure your application gets pre-approved before this deadline, you need to submit them in advance of this date. So the sooner the better. Based on our experience with horticultural lighting projects, which are typically very large, it is strongly advised that you submit your application by October 31st, 2020 to allow enough time for review and pre-approval. Once your application is pre-approved, you have until December 31st, 2021 to complete the project and have it in service. Another very important point that I want to emphasize, the program stipulates that an application must be submitted prior to making a binding commitment to a vendor or contractor. Apply before you buy is a mantra we like to repeat. We also recommend that you wait for pre-approval before starting the project. If the project starts before receiving pre-approval, you're doing so at your own risk. We will pause now for a moment to take any questions you might have regarding the program information, requirements, and timelines.
We don't have any questions as of yet, but I would like to take this opportunity to remind people and to let people know that maybe logged in after I did my introductions. There is a question function on the control panel for the webinar. Please feel free to use that, and we can definitely find some answers for you. Oh, actually, we've gotten some popping up right now just after I said that. So one question is, purchasing before pre-approval does not automatically disqualify you from receiving incentives. So I guess that's a question.
Sorry, Julie, can you repeat that?
Yeah. So I think the question is, so purchasing before pre-approval, does that automatically disqualify you from receiving the incentives?
No.
Sorry,
so,
I kind of misspoke on the first one.
That's okay. No, the program requires that an application must be submitted prior to purchasing equipment. So you can move forward with a project after your application has been submitted and before pre-approval, but you are doing so at your own risk.
Okay. And what's the maximum amount that you could potentially receive for either program? Is the what's the cap essentially?
So there's no cap in the incentive, but there is a cap in terms of it cannot exceed 50% of your project cost. So the incentive is always capped at 50% of eligible project cost.
Okay, thanks. I think that's it for now, but I'll keep, just again, just a reminder to everybody, just please keep using the questions function, and we'll have another opportunity to ask more questions in a little bit. All right, thanks, Heather.
Okay. Thanks, Julie. When it comes to greenhouse growth, Ontario is the hottest spot for it in Canada. About 60% of the country's greenhouse area is in this province, and whether you're growing vegetables, fruit, flowers, or cannabis, every space requires energy. The energy it takes to power lighting, heat pumps, and ventilation in a greenhouse, it all adds up. The good news is that energy use is well within your control, and now is the time to consider energy efficiency upgrades and take advantage of the incentives that are available to help your business prosper. We all know that plants need light to thrive, so unsurprisingly, lighting presents the biggest opportunity for greenhouses to save on energy. Traditionally, greenhouse operators have turned to high-pressure sodium lights to help mimic sunlight and keep growing even as the weather turns gray and cold. However, LED lighting is much more efficient, using up to 50% less energy than high-pressure sodium lights. Reducing the heat that comes from lighting may also help growers manage humidity levels better and reduce the load on their heating, ventilation, and air conditioning equipment, meaning even more potential savings. Dehumidification, which requires mechanical cooling, is vital for certain crops to avoid mold and mildew, and like lighting, that can drive up energy use. Greenhouse operators can gain more efficiency by installing variable frequency drives on exhaust fans, heat buffering systems, zone pumps, and mixing valves. VFDs essentially help control the speed of motor-driven equipment such as fans and pumps, so they don't use energy unnecessarily. Saving on energy is ultimately a competitive advantage. Taking the time to upgrade lighting and improve your HVAC efficiency within your greenhouse will provide tremendous benefits in the long run. To help maintain or increase your greenhouse's productivity while keeping energy costs in check, one of the best places to start is with lighting. Installing or upgrading to LED lighting can lead to energy savings of between 35 and 50% compared to high-pressure sodium lights. The innovation and advancement of LED lighting technology has brought with it a host of important benefits. In controlled growing environments, LED lighting technology is ideal because its effects can be closely monitored and adjusted, which not only grows healthier plants and maximizes yields, but it also improves operating costs through energy savings. In greenhouses, LEDs can be used as a primary light source, or they can act as supplemental light if the facility is conducive to sunlight exposure. LEDs are less radiant and therefore can be placed closer to the plant. This type of precision only further adds to the efficiency and sustainability of the complete grow environment. LED lighting lasts between 5 to 10 times longer than high-pressure sodium options, which can help you save on the cost of replacing your lighting over the long term. In many cases, greenhouse operators who invest in energy-efficient LED lighting see a payback within 2 to 3 years, especially with the help of incentives. I was planning to show a short video, however, the audio wasn't working. The video will be provided as part of the materials distributed following the webinar. When considering a horticultural LED lighting project, we have established the following checklist to assist in the preparation of your application. The following participant information must be provided as part of your application, including the name of the electrical utility and account number, HST number, and the business or farm number. Every participant must accurately complete the horticulture custom worksheet, which can be found on the Save on Energy website. Detailed quotes must be provided and shall include company name and address, facility name and address, costs separated by labor and materials, and quantities including model numbers. The quote must be current and unexpired. If the quote does not contain this information, it must reference supporting documentation that includes the additional project details. For every project, the participant must provide a base case. The base case includes a detailed account of all existing fixtures to be replaced, including area in square meters, lighting layout, type of fixture and specifications, lamp manufacturer and model, and a complete inventory of the existing fixtures. Where no fixtures exist, then a photometric model and layout of an acceptable theoretical base case is required. Lighting schedule and operating hours are also required. For top lighting applications, high pressure sodium or metal halide are considered acceptable base case scenarios. And for interlighting applications, only fluorescent is an acceptable base case. Hybrid lighting projects are also eligible, which can include a checkerboard concept or similar. The base case for a hybrid project includes only the lights that will be retrofitted to LED. In addition to the base case, an efficiency case must also be provided. The participant must submit a photometric model and layout for the proposed LEDs, including the exact same details as required for the base case, including lighting schedule and operating hours. Other supporting documentation that must be submitted with your application includes specifications for both the existing and proposed fixtures that must correspond by way of model number to the equipment listed on the quote and engineering worksheet. DLC information. If a DLC number exists for the energy efficient fixture, it needs to be provided. Lighting controls. How are the existing and proposed lights being controlled? Are they timed or ambient? If controls exist or are being proposed, scheduling or metering data is required to verify existing operating hours, and set points and/or schedules are required for the proposed controls. A measurement and verification plan is required as part of the application submission. Ideally, direct measurement of power for a sufficient sample of the fixtures to be retrofitted is adequate. Duration of measurement depends on the control strategy. So for static controls, 2 weeks of data is sufficient. And for a dynamic control strategy, measurement duration can be several months up to an entire year. And finally, a site inspection is required to be completed by a Save on Energy representative. Over the last 6 months, we have assisted several growers with their horticultural lighting applications. As a result, there have been some lessons learned that we would like to share and hopefully provide some insight as you develop your projects and weigh the pros and cons of installing LED grow lights in your facility. There is a learning curve when it comes to horticultural LED lighting, and growers are trying to determine intensities and spectrums that provide optimal growth for their respective plants. If you're unsure about whether LEDs will be right for what you're growing, consider starting with a pilot project in a small area. That way, you can experiment with the number of lights, their intensity, placement, and color to see how it affects your plant's productivity. Regardless of how many lights you want to start with, Save on Energy incentives are available to help you save up to 50% on the cost of upgrading. Consider which crops you're growing and what impact lighting color may have on the plants. Newer LED systems allow you to have control over spectral light, which can help optimize your growth. A team out of the University of Guelph, for example, recently found that pure blue light promotes better flowering over red light in certain plant species. However, they found it could also cause plants to stretch. So one option could be to use pure blue light in early stages and red light later on. Investigate your technology options based on the type of crops being grown. For example, top lighting versus interlighting, single line versus double line, full LED versus hybrid checkerboard. The lighting needs for your crops will differ depending on what you're growing. Growers seem to be leaning towards interlighting for vine plants as a result of proven productivity. Interlighting also has the advantage of being out of the way of overhead equipment. Evaluating different options is a valuable exercise in determining whether the capital investment is justified. Using smart LED lighting may also help you improve productivity in your greenhouse. With smart lighting, you can have more control over lighting intensity, duration, and color, or spectrum. This may be helpful for crops that require more intensity to thrive. Other important points to mention when developing your project. Ensure you obtain accurate quotes at the pre-project stage so that you don't leave any money on the table. LED grow light projects are proving to be worth the investment, particularly while there's still time to receive an incentive from Save on Energy. And to ensure the application review goes smoothly, it is important to confirm completeness and accuracy within your application prior to submission. We will pause again for some questions related to horticultural lighting applications.
Thanks, Heather. We do have another question in, and I just want to keep reminding people, please do use the question function. We keep everybody muted so we don't have any background noise in the presentations. So this question's asking, do you anticipate that the added incentive for Southwestern Ontario of about, I think it's 30 cents per kilowatt hour, do you anticipate that sticking around past this year? I don't know if you have anything that you can comment on that.
I don't have anything to comment on that. I may actually defer that over to Vicki.
I'm sorry, could you please repeat the question?
Yeah, it's we're just we have a person asking if there's any basically if there's any signs that the added incentive of 30 cents a kilowatt hour for Southwestern Ontario, if that might stick around past the calendar year 2020.
I would get your application in before December. I'm not hearing that. That was definitely a pilot initiative that is set to end by December of this year. So I'm not hearing anything. We're still designing what the programs will look like moving forward. So I'm not hearing anything about that. I know it was a pilot initiative, so I would plan on it ending by December.
Okay, thanks. I think that's all the questions for now, unless anybody flies in under the radar. But yeah, maybe just go ahead again, Heather. Thanks.
Okay, that's okay. We can we'll certainly save some time at the end for any questions that come up. Okay, so in addition to LED grow lights, the Retrofit program offers several other incentives for agricultural customers. You can receive up to $2,000 for a high volume, low speed recirculation ventilation fan and $187 per high efficiency ventilation exhaust fan. Various incentives are also available for dual and natural exhaust ventilation depending on the product type. Other measures such as high temperature thermostats, photocell and timer for lighting controls, and electric hot water heaters are eligible for an incentive as well. If you're considering a retrofit program and are unsure about its eligibility to participate in the program, please reach out and we'll be happy to assist. The ISO has produced a wide array of self-service support tools that are available to you on the Save on Energy website. If you can't find what you need, do not hesitate to contact us directly. As I mentioned earlier, this presentation will be provided following the webinar, so you'll have the specific references to the resources online and the various parts of the website for you to access. Finally, just finish up here. Finally, the province has been divided into 4 separate regions for the purposes of delivering the retrofit program on behalf of the ISO. This slide provides the service provider contact information for the Southwest region. So if you're unsure as to which region your facility is located, you can contact the retrofit support line, which is also noted on this slide, and provide your postal code. They will direct you to the appropriate service provider for further support. This concludes my presentation today on the Save on Energy Retrofit Program and agricultural incentives. We hope you found the information presented to be informative and valuable as you consider energy efficient upgrades to your facility. Our team looks forward to supporting you as you develop your project, and we are here to walk you through the entire application process. Thank you again for joining us today. Please stay online for some Q&A, and I'll turn it over to you, Julie.
All right, thanks very much, Heather, and thank you very much, Vicki. So we do have some questions that have come up, and again, I really encourage people to answer or ask some questions on the questions function on the control panel. But in the meantime, we've got some questions to kind of start us off. So the application process can be a bit daunting for the average applicant, in particular things like determining base case and the monitoring and verification requirements. What supports are available from Save on Energy to assist applicants for this?
Okay. So our Save on Energy representatives can assist every applicant with every aspect of their application, from project development to application preparation and submission. Not every project is created equally. Some participants come to us with an already established project, while others will reach out in the very early stages of development. So regardless of where a participant is at in their project development process, our team will ensure that each applicant is aware of what documentation is required prior to preparing and submitting the application. If the applicant would like our team to prepare and help submit the application for them, we have applicant representatives available who will be assigned to their application. This individual will ensure the worksheet has been completed correctly, and that all supporting documentation is available and meets the program requirements. The applicant rep will also prepare the M&V plan, the measurement and verification plan, to be included with the application. So basically, our team is here to make the application process less daunting for participants and to encourage participation.
Excellent. Thanks, Heather. So, and I apologize if you've maybe already answered this in your presentation, but you stated all projects must be completed by December 31st, 2021. Or does that mean the installation needs to be done by the end of 2021, or can you, or does it mean that complete submission and processing of all follow-up documentation, I apologize, as well? Can you walk through what that might look like for a greenhouse in terms of milestones for application, installation, M&V, et cetera, to ensure they don't miss the deadline?
Sure. Yeah, so the December 31st, 2021 deadline specifically refers to a project being installed and in service. The submission and processing of all post-project documentation, including site inspections, measurement and verification, invoices, et cetera, must be completed within 6 months of the in-service date. So as mentioned previously, we strongly advise greenhouse growers who are considering a horticultural lighting project to submit their application by October 31st, 2020 to allow sufficient time to obtain pre-approval prior to the deadline of December 31st, 2020. This submission date is a recommendation, and it's not a guarantee that pre-approval can be granted by the deadline. And then following pre-approval of their application, the participant can proceed with the installation of their project. We recognize that the lead time for delivery of LED grow lights can be lengthy depending on the supplier, but please remember that the latest pre-approval date is December 31st, 2020. Therefore, each participant will have at least 1 full year to get their project installed and in service, and then 6 months following that for the post-project submission.
Great, thanks. Okay, here's another question. So what happens if a grower switches to LED and finds out that that is something that doesn't work for their crop?
Okay, so what I can say about that is that if a grower makes a decision to install LED grow lights and they receive an incentive from Save On Energy, they are obligated in accordance with the program requirements to keep the lights in service for 48 months.
Okay, thanks. I think we're actually all out of questions for now, but I do want to encourage people, if you had a question that you wanted to ask but you didn't get it typed out, we will be reaching out to you after this presentation to make sure you've got a copy of the presentation. So please feel free to reach out. We can put you in touch with Heather and Vicki and get some answers for you if you have a more focused question that you didn't get a chance to ask today. Thank you very, very much, Heather and Vicki. I know that the incentive program is definitely something of interest for a lot of our greenhouse growers, especially with the added incentive for the Southwestern Ontario area. I very much appreciate you guys being able to be here to discuss the program, how it works, what kinds of things are covered. I thought that was great information for everybody here today. And once again, thank you to all of our attendees as well for joining us today. And as I said before, this recording will be available online on our website within the next few days, and we will follow up with all of our participants with a copy of the presentation and all the with the relevant links in the video that we missed out on as well. So thanks again very much, Heather and Vicki.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, have a good day, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.